2019 GSL Super Tournament, Season 2.
What's up, everybody? The GSL Super Tournament Season 2 2019 starts now. It's going to be a fun 4 days, Artosis.
The last big Korean tournament of the year. We're going to decide the last few spots to go to BlizzCon from Korea. A ridiculous set of matches, a lot of really good ones that are hard to predict as well. It's just going to be a fantastic tournament.
It is. This is the beginning of the end here of 2019. We're about to finalize who is going to be going to the very end stage here of the World Championship Series. So there's a lot on the line. Even today, some players are either going to make it or get one step closer, or it's out. They're done.
Yeah, that's true. Today we might end up eliminating someone. We'll see about that. Tomorrow we're going to eliminate many people from that chance at BlizzCon. And, of course, during all this, it's a big tournament. A lot of money on the line, a lot of prestige. And, again, it's the last really big one in Korea for everyone for the year.
Yeah, it's always so cool to watch the journey of each of the players, to see their story unfold and see, who was expected to come along and actually do it, the people that you never thought were going to make it, and in an upset they managed to finally get there. And again, we're getting closer and closer and closer to crowning a world champion. Now, this tournament is every day for 4 days here. So if you're joining us now, if you're tuning in live, you can tune in at the same time each time, wherever it is for you, of course. And you can enjoy a massive tournament get wrapped up in a very short period of time.
That's right. Every day at 5 p.m. KST is when we will be doing this. So definitely set your alarm clocks. Get down here if you're in Korea, because it is going to be just a set of awesome games. Super Tournament is always one of the most fun tournaments to see how it quickly rips through. We have a lot of very specific tournament, Super Tournament storylines that occurred. Normally, Protoss does very well in this tournament.
Yes.
Especially Hero, who, of course, has qualified, and he hasn't completely secured his BlizzCon spot. He's very likely to go. He's very high up in the rankings right now, but he needs to show a bit of skill here in this tournament if he's to lock it down.
Yeah, so here's the WCS Korea standings thus far. The players that are in the blue here, they're the ones that they have a shot, but they're going to have to do well in this tournament.
Yeah, and in fact, this matters, all right? Classic, there's a possibility he won't go, and there's a possibility that he will go. If he doesn't go, we can also add GuMiho, Solar, Parting to this list of players that can get in, as well as Deer. Even though Deer didn't qualify for this tournament, if Classic can't go and everyone below Deer doesn't get at least second place,
if everybody else underperforms,
yeah, then he will be able to go. So there's a lot of things happening here. This graphic is not 100% accurate. But we'll let you know as the matches progress what's going on. But a lot of this does rely on whether or not Classic is going to be able to play BlizzCon.
And that is all dependent on whether or not he has to go do his military service or not. So here is our bracket. We're going to be doing the left side of the bracket today. Rogue, Stats, Dark, Maru, Su, Impact, GuMiho, Cure.
That's right. Stats has not secured his spot yet. Rogue, Dark, Maru, Su all have. Impact cannot make it. Cure cannot make it. GuMiho, again, if Classic isn't going to be able to go, he has a higher chance, and there is some chance here for GuMiho, but obviously he must win here tonight.
Yeah, that's one of the scary things about being in the lower part of the of those standings, is that it's not just dependent on how well you perform, but also how everybody else is doing as well.
Yeah.
If everybody else flops, well, then that's really good for you. Otherwise, you better perform damn well in this tournament.
Yeah, and this is, look at this lineup. Just the top, those first two matches, Rogue versus Stats, Dark versus Maru, these are literally like, these could be the World Finals, the Finals of GSL, the top 4 of GSL, whatever you want. Like, those two matches are unbelievably good. These are matches that we wait all year to see.
Yep.
And we're going to see them both today, back to back.
Okay, here's a familiar face in GSL right now, Rogue. This guy is so insanely good, just coming back from winning a GSL Code S in a smashing fashion, completely dominating.
Yes, he's won everything now. He's won a Katowice, he's won a BlizzCon, he's won a Super Tournament, he's won an IEM, he's won a GSL Code S. It's crazy what this guy has been able to do. And of course, Stats, the best defensive Protoss player in the world, no doubt about it. He's done quite a bit as well and is looking to secure that spot at BlizzCon, which, again, it's not secured as of yet. And even if he loses here, he might still make it, because currently he is within the top 8. It just matters how other people do as well.
Stats' defensive style brought him a lot of success in 2017 and 2018, but he struggled here in 2019. There's been a lot more modernized, aggressive approaches, and I think his reactive Protoss style has suffered quite a bit. Now, going up against Rogue, who's also known, although he occasionally does these crazy Nidus attacks, he's mostly known for having his impeccable late game, for really being, in the modern era of StarCraft 2, the player that really showed us what you can get away with in late game Zerg. So I don't know what to expect here from Stats. I think this is definitely going to be a tough matchup, despite how successful Stats has been. It's very clear that Rogue is the better player right now.
Well, as far as we can tell, the late game is not super playable in PvZ right now. We haven't seen anyone able to do it, whether it's Trap, who is possibly the best Protoss in the world right now, or Stats, who is generally considered the best late game Protoss.
Or frankly, if you're Terran, too, it's still hard to play late game against Zerg. So I think when you have a situation that presents itself like that, the technique that has to be applied is to play around that to try to end the game before it goes on for too long, because otherwise you will get punished by that, at times, very superior Zerg tech. Now we're going to start game 1 on Triton. That game is loaded up, so Rogue vs. Stats begins now, our first match here in the GSL Super Tournament.
Jin Air Green Wings, Rogue.
Of course, fresh off his victory in Code S, looking strong as ever.
Splice, Stats.
And, you know, Stats not having the same year as last year. Last year, he was, at least for the second half of it, the strongest player in the world along the stair. Oh, it's a cannon rush to open!
Wow.
And to open up! Look at that!
This is cool.
Oh, this is so cool. This morning we were going over this on the Pylon show, trying to figure out what was going to happen. And they were saying, you know, between Estrella, No Regret, and Juan, they were saying there was going to be a cannon rush, even from Stats. Let's see if he can make this work. All right, does it right in his face.
Yep. He should get the block off. There it is. 3 pylon block now. A second probe is being sent out here. We want to keep an eye on that second probe as well.
Yeah, that second probe is actually even more important in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You've got to get to the high ground. You've got to be able to warp in some more cannons there.
Great gateway block here. And now he's going to plant a pylon here. So the low ground cannon is there to cover the high ground pylon. Now, keep in mind, the gas over here, the first one was taken, is on the left side. The pool is obviously far, far away from any kind of cannon location. That would basically be the last structure to be killed here in a cannon rush. And the game would be over long before that happens here. So he needs to try to spam out as many cannons as possible here. And there's also the option, and we see gas being taken, by the way, the option to do a mortal push here. As this continues on.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. He actually lets the hatchery finish. I'm fine with that. I'm interested that he just hasn't even began to start to defend this. There was no probes pulled or drones pulled whatsoever, which I've been told is the new counter to cannon rushes, is just diving on their probes with your workers.
And this can only mean that the Zerg is intending to rush as quickly into some type of tech to save himself here. Now, we don't have a layer.
Yeah, he's certainly going for Ravagers. There's absolutely nothing else that this could possibly be at this point. Looks like a couple things might go across the map right there, which I think is fine, but let's see if the Ravagers can actually do it, if they can save it. Like, he hasn't lost really any mining time or anything so far.
Right. Now, the Ravagers over time will just always beat cannons, because you can corrosive bile them down at a distance, so you're never having to trade any kind of damage or, anything of the sort. We have a cannon, and now 3 batteries going down here, and that's to try to give the Protoss the ability to sustain presence here in this rush.
Yeah, this is a zoning spine, I believe. It's going to kind of give a little bit of support when units come up to fight. You know, obviously we see a Stalker coming out right now, so that's something that can kind of poke forward and then get healed up. Now the Ravagers are out. Let's see.
Okay, Zealot, Stalker, 2 probes up here.
Dude, I think that Rogue is going to hold this pretty cleanly. Like,
It's moments like this that you can make a fool out of a cannon rusher if you hold this off, if they completely get to execute what they intended to do, and then you shut it down. So he's actually spamming down the shield batteries right now. He's got a pretty good sweet spot there where he can hit all 3 of those by firing right in the middle.
Look at that one stalker trying to be like a cannon itself. It's just, I almost feel bad. It seems so weak comparatively. It's like, oh, I poked the drone, and now I poke you. It's like, well, I don't think any of this is enough damage. Look at that, another shield battery going down, a gateway at home for stats. Like, I mean, he's slowing down the Zerg, but what's he really gaining here?
He's... So far, he's destroyed 1 structure so far. The Roaches and Ravagers are beginning to mass up quite a bit.
So right now it seems like Stats' plan is just Stalkers.
Yeah.
With that second gateway that's right here, just production of Stalkers. I mean, that maybe over time he can out-micro him. He does have the cannons helping out.
Stalkers can be better against Roaches if controlled right.
He's starting to do some damage there. Like, look at that. One of the Ravagers getting pretty low. Looks like all his shield battery is going to be going down, unfortunately.
It's key to lose as little Stalkers as possible. You're both basically trying to power up as much as you can get away with. Okay, now he's about to get that. He does get the Spine Crawler. Very important here.
Oof.
But cannons are going to start going down here, which is going to give a lot less cover.
Yeah, I mean, he's picked off a few units here and there, but since he's already lost a Stalker, he's already lost all his shield batteries, I can't see this continuing forever. I still feel like Rogue is going to hold.
Keep in mind, I mean, these are not even warp gates, okay? He's actually just making these Stalkers out of the gateways like it was a StarCraft 1 game. He's just trying to get as many Stalkers out as quickly as possible. You have Zerg hanging on here with 1 hatchery. Nice snipe there on the Queen. Very important unit to take out in this rush.
And, you know, he's still making some shield batteries. Looks like he's going to come up and try to throw down another one.
It's very important that probe isn't killed off, by the way. Yeah. The more buildings he can just put in here, and it's more of a headache for the Zerg.
Yeah, by the way, we should mention that this micro from Stats is so important. He's trying to keep the Ravagers back so they get less spiles upon his buildings. Obviously, he's taking some additional damage due to that. Oh my god, the vials are just so good. But Rogue continues to push. Stalkers, I mean, the Stalker count of Stats is getting higher and higher.
Another Roach bites the dust. I think Stats might barely pull this off. We're starting to see that Zerg unit count thin out, and the Stalker count is not going to slow down. He's managed successfully over and over to retreat behind those shield batteries and heal those Stalker counts up.
Wow, look at all those shield batteries really helping out. Has he hit a moment here where he can actually just kind of snowball it forward? That is so many Stalkers.
If he can get rid of this Spine Crawler, it's going to be really big. It does go down. It's just 1 Queen. The Queen is stuck out in the front, and it goes down as well. I think Stats has done it. I think he's going to start closing in here, and I don't see any way to escape from this. Lings are being made now. GG. Stats defeats the GSL Codes champion. Season 3 here. He beats him in Game 1. Only 2 more wins, and he moves on to the round of 8.
And that was a different cannon rush. You were saying we might see Immortal with it. And, you know, the Immortal build, it's definitely something that's been around, that's been powerful, but this seemed to me to be harder to execute, but a more consistent pressure coming out. Consistent micro. And great micro there from Stats. I tell you what, that was some strong play, and suddenly Estrella owes a bunch of people milk teas. He bet that there would be 0 cannon rush victories here at Super Tournament, but there we go. Opening game number 1.
Yeah. Now, I don't think that's going to be representative at all for what the other games are going to look like in this best of 5. I think Stats has pulled his Cannon Rush card out. He's played it well. He won, but I can't imagine we're going to have additional Cannon Rushes. Let's see, though. I mean, you know, we were talking about Stats being a very defensive player who kind of wants to scope out what the other player's doing, and then he wants to take a few steps and cut some corners and get his own lead. But he brought a very, very different approach in that game, and it worked against a GSL Codes champion. I should say the most recent one as well. Game 2 will be on Acropolis, and that's starting right now.
Game start. Jin Air Green Wings. Rogue.
No, very interesting. He took a very high economy approach to stopping that. Not pulling drones, not trying to do any early battling.
Splice. Stats.
Stats with a new type of cannon rush. It's super interesting to me, of course, you know, to see that different take on it. Instead of the Robo just going into pure Stalkers, adding the second gateway. No warp-ins or anything. You can't waste your money on anything, really, right?
Right.
Keeping that pressure on, very micro-intensive. Yeah, I find it very, very cool and very interesting, the way that he played that.
this series being one that Stats does come out and beat Rogue, though, just for the way that Rogue has looked lately.
Well, I think the first strat that he just showed us there shows that he realizes that he can't just necessarily play a regular style. That
I guess he knows his place, right?
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter how much you like the late game. Right now, we haven't seen any Protosses beat a top-tier Zerg in that late game. It hasn't happened. You need an earlier advantage right now in this metagame. And the fact that Stats is showing us Cannon Rush that, I mean, I haven't seen.
On the honeymoon from Norway. Welcome, guys.
That's great.
This is our second couple we've had on a honeymoon recently here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these are great choices that these people are making.
Yeah.
You know these couples are going to make it.
They're going to make it, yeah.
You go to GSL for the honeymoon? I mean, damn, that's love.
That's what love looks like.
That is exactly what love looks like. That's just like on my anniversary. I just cast. No problem. Or I just stays at home with the kids, and I go cast GSL. It's love. So, anyways, you know, I have some real hope for Stats after that first victory. I don't know exactly what he's going to end up showing us here. Like, for instance, we see a Stargate. Okay, is this going to be 3 Oracle? Is it going to be something sneaky and cheeky? I don't know.
Well, I mean, Stats is certainly capable of doing timing attacks. Let's also not forget that Rogue just recently Nidus a lot. We've seen Nidus rushes. It appears they're getting stronger and stronger by little increments as people are really trying to, I shouldn't say trying to, they really have figured out how to seesaw the other player's attention on where he's defending. You know, you can actually, having 2 Niduses, for instance, in a rush, allows you to almost teleport your army from one place to another without needing to cost, you know, energy or mana. There's no cooldown with it, right? So occasionally we see in these rushes, not that we'll have it necessarily in this game, but I would be surprised if we don't see Rogue do it at least once here.
Oh yeah, he'll make a Nidus at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, the way that Zergs, whether it be Cyril or Rogue, just completely master throwing the other player off their footing with those Nidus plays is huge too, and I expect to see some of that here in this series.
Yeah.
Perhaps not in this game, but in this series.
Definitely do expect that as well. So just some light Oracle harassment. Ooh, nice snipe there right at the last second on that drone. Not a ton of damage, but, you know, getting some done. Races that Overlord with the Phoenix. Let's see where Rogue wants to go from here. Is he going to do something cheesy and aggressive
Can we get more GSL Super Tournament logos in the middle of the map here?
Why, is there a law?
There's 2. There's one there, and there's one to the bottom right.
Well, I guess you can't put one right in the exact center because of that tall grass.
Well, I guess you kind of could, right? We would see it.
Yeah, the tall grass, you could, like, spray paint GSL Super Tournament onto it.
Yeah.
When the wind blows, it, like, makes different words. It's almost like when you play a record backwards and the devil speaks to you.
That's right. The devil tells you to disobey your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes the first Oracle coming in here. Drawing some of those spore shots onto the Phoenix. The Oracle goes untouched after killing 2 drones.
Yeah, more Oracles on the way. Robo coming up as well. So pretty standard stuff here out of Stats. Nice little shade in. Let's see how much he gets done. It looks like only a couple drones with those 2. Oh, that's too bad. Trying so hard to get another drone. Third Oracle is about to pop out. And the third Nexus on the way. So this will be the interesting part to see if Stats really goes for it on 3 Nexuses, or is he going to go higher than that? You know, I think that the 4th Nexus is like, that's the area where if you are not being intensely aggressive at that point, your opponent will get into his endgame, you know? 3 Nexuses is the comfortable zone where it's like, okay, you can macro and also attack and keep it on a lower tech than Broodlord and Fester. But if he goes any further than that, I'm going to start feeling a bit nervous about him entering that late game, which is really Rogue's domain.
Well, the 4th Nexus, unless you've done a whole bunch of attacks before you took that 4th Nexus, is basically a nod that you're comfortable with the idea of Zerg getting quite deep into their own tech, which is really what both Terrans and Protosses are trying to circumnavigate. Most Zergs in this year, as well as last year, but I'd say it's been more pronounced this year. Most Zergs, when they lose, it's due to a timing attack. Someone comes in and blindsides them before they're able to get to where they were trying to go. What just happened? I was looking at you.
He turns on the Oracle, kills 2 creep tumors, right?
Oh, and then this.
And then the queens come out and queued up 8 creep tumors immediately.
Yeah.
Does anyone else think that creep tumors should cost 50 mana instead of 25? You with me on that, Tasteless?
I wonder what that would look like, actually.
It would look like no creep for Zerg in the early game.
Every time a creep tumor is shot down, we have to go into play-by-play mode.
Yeah.
Oh, he got the creep tumor!
That's crazy!
Late game's over now. Zerg's out of the late game,
It's like
guys.
you don't even get Psystorm anymore. You just get feedback for the queens. You're feedbacking 48 energy queens left and right. Get that sweet, sweet 24 damage in the racial of the creep tumor.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, creep tumor.
Nidus Worm.
Yeah, creep tumor. Nidus Worm plus Swarmhost. There we go.
So this is generally not one where you have the Nidus Worm, at least not for the start of the rush, go anywhere inside the base. You usually try to have Nidus Worms on the outside, on the exterior, and you try to chuck in, Swarmhost. You try to have them shoot the locusts in there and do as much damage, and then they can escape out and come into another area.
Yeah.
And try to hit elsewhere.
Yeah, and it looks like he's setting up various areas to throw down that Nidus. Okay, Stats sees it here with the Phoenix. Okay, he's actually sending his army over. Well, he's sending his army out. This will be interesting to see exactly how he wants to deal with it. So he's actually going to power that down in a matter of seconds here.
Okay, so the second Nidus started up over here.
Well, that's really funny because it seemed like a really fantastic idea, right?
Yeah,
to kill the Nidus
really
before your opponent, and maybe trap the units or something, right? But then, like, the single queen pops out, heals it, and then actually the trade turned good for Zerg with the Locust fighting the army. Like, if Stats had insta-pulled his army back, that would have been all right, but yeah.
Everything looked really weird about that. The Nidus inside there has been denied. Another Nidus is going to pop in here. Again, the idea is you're trying to seesaw the position of your opponent's army and throw them off. Here comes Void Ray here.
Yeah, I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough to deal with this. Roach is coming in here from the top. And only 4 Zealots to defend here. Once again, they can dive onto this Archon. Oh, good pickup there, though, with the Warp Prism.
Yeah, if he had lost another Archon immediately, I would have been very sad for him there. A little warp in his Zealots. It's not going to do too much. Going to slow this down for a bit, though. Looks like he's utilizing a recall as well to stop that damage. Another Nidus coming in to the north. Stats? Oh, no. A lot of things going wrong right now.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit worried for Stats here. The damage is starting to stack up. He's got the Immortals coming down here. Actually, they're going to try to take out the Nidus Worm first. There's another location just north of where we were looking. And this is going to be another point where he can attack in here at the third as well. Storm's on the way. And Storm kind of stops the Swarm Host, but not exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you can deal with them a little bit, but the refresh rate on those Locusts and the fact that they're going to do a little bit of damage anyways makes it so that you don't want to just have that as your entire plan to deal with them. All right, so nice warp in here. Looks like he should be able to defend mostly from these roaches. Oh my god, even getting burrow. Love it. No burrow movement as of yet.
That's fine. I mean, it does force them to stay in that position for a little bit while there's other opportunities to do damage elsewhere. I got to say, those Stats, it's pretty impressive how he's handled this so far, even though he's taken a few pretty big hits here.
I feel like, though, what I'm watching here is Rogue really play an excellent game.
Yeah,
he's up on 4 bases. He is definitely dictating the flow of this game.
Oh my god,
he's
going to get the Robo. That's so good, especially with the unit comp that Rogue is fighting Stats with. If there was a building he could have killed, that would have been it.
Like, he's sitting here maxed for most of this. He's got a better economy going on as well. He's continually doing some harassment, picking off some buildings here and there. He's picked off a few high-tech units as well, whereas, like, yeah, you kill a few roaches, but we've seen multiple Archons lost. Roach, like, he doesn't care if he loses roaches. If you go down and ask him, Tasis, he'd be like, no, I didn't, they're just roaches. They're like nothing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like losing a Zealot,
Okay, the Warp Prism is going to have to be used pretty well here if he's going to hang on. The thing I'm getting worried about here for Stats is that Rogue is actually maxed out, and his minerals and gas are pretty high, so it's very easy for him to replenish anything he loses. And I mean, the whole idea here is you're trying to just garbage compact the Protoss. you know.
Yeah, well, he's definitely got a lot of pressure all over the place. These Nidus is just going insane. He's showing some of that power he showed us at the GSL Finals with the non-stop Nidus Worms coming up.
Yeah, saying I don't even need late game, at least so far here.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. There's scarier things that can come. Think about that.
Yeah.
This isn't the scariest thing Rogue can do. This is the mid-tech thing Rogue can do.
I'd be curious to see what the decision-making process is on whether you want to go to late game against Protoss or you want to try to do the Nidus. Is it simply the way the map is shaped and where you can try to position the Nidus network, or is it more about the Protoss' tech and what they're trying to do, and can Nidus exploit that? Or is it a mixture of the two?
Well, I think that the shape of this map, plus the fact that it was a somewhat passive 3-base opener, really pointed towards this being a strong strat. And I think that if it gets to a point of diminishing returns, he'll just tech up from there. But right now, we're seeing the Locusts still do damage. We're seeing the Roaches trade reasonably. Like, I've seen a lot of Archons die. But Stats is starting to get more efficient on this, right? His Immortals are taking better fights. He's getting off good Psy Storms as well.
You know, the Broad Roaches are actually only furthering the troubles of the positional game here for the Protoss.
That one in particular not doing so well. But, you know, he is stretching that multitasking of Stats. Who, by the way, getting up into a mothership, so we'll see how he does with that. But
I think we're almost to the end of the multi-pronged harass here.
Yep.
So we're getting the Hydra tech out now. Oh, I say that now another Nidus network starts in the main.
I think Niduses are so cheap, you can just continually throw them up in positions like this.
I guess you can always set one up and force them to run back and defend.
Yeah. And even if nothing comes out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if you never intended for anything to come out. It's the cost of that, while that guarantees your 5th base can be taken, is making Rogue look very, 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 very strong. Get the pylon! Nope.
But yeah, I love the Lurker den that's coming out for Rogue right now.
Yeah.
When you look at the actual army that's been made, my God, Rogue, you're just nonstop.
Shine is having to really focus here in observing this game.
He's using all his pro gamer skills.
I know,
at the
this
moment.
is Shine's doing more multitasking here than the players at this point in time.
Yeah, if you look at this army set, like switching into some Hydras with Lurker, the Lurkers are going to be just outstanding. Like Blink Stalker against Lurker, it's something you don't even want to see. You're going to have to close your eyes. We're going to have to turn the stream off. You know,
it'll be like in Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they couldn't look after they opened the Ark. It's going to be too much.
It's NSFP, not safe for Protoss, man. Stalkers against Lurkers is just not a real fight.
If he gets a Nidus in the main and sets the Lurkers up there, it's going to be a disaster.
Oh yeah, that's always a fun one. Well, the Mothership is out. It's not really doing that much because we have 5 Overseers here in Siege mode.
Look at this, man.
The flank of the... Oh, my
Rogue
God.
is a beast.
Yeah, he's pretty beastly. That's a good way to put it.
He is so good. By the way, there's a Nexus being taken actually above this fight. The Zerg might accidentally... Yeah, they're going to retreat into this and probably take this out.
Accidentally kill it? Is that what you were going to say?
Oh, there's a Nexus here. No, I guess not. I guess the Mothership and the Stalkers are too much of a threat.
Yeah, so, I mean, Stats is doing a reasonable job fighting, to be honest. But he hasn't retained the high-end units as well as I think you need to. Like, look at that army right there.
Yeah.
That's an army that you know has seen some fights. Because there's like 1 Archon, a lot of gateway units, 4 Immortals, and we're 14 minutes in, right? What we should be seeing is like 5 Archons and 4 or 5 High Templars, you know, and 8 Immortals. That's a real army that you didn't have 100 fights with and lose pieces to. He's like a puzzle box where you've lost the corners or something. It's like, do you even want to do that puzzle? Why do you even do puzzles?
Oh, wow. 2 more Niduses here. 1 adjacent to the main, 1 inside. As this fight is happening here at the very upper right. Now, if Protoss loses this, he's going back to the bases he was on for most of this game. So it's very important he actually takes this fight, or Stats takes this fight, I should say. Now, these Storms are about as good as you can ask for, but even then, it appears, that's too much.
Yeah.
GG. Rogue takes game 2, evening this out 1-1.
Yeah. So here's my professional analysis of that. Don't open up with Oracle play against Rogue or against any Zerg right now. You need to take a more active approach, I think. You know, he's letting Rogue do as Rogue wants to do.
He's going back to being Stats too much. Too much.
Yeah, you can't just like be like, you know, I'm going to fill everything out and do some do some harassment while I do it. Rogue's like, well, no, what I'll do is I'll defend my drones, and then I'll do whatever I want because my economy's out of control.
Now that's your professional analysis. What's your unprofessional analysis?
Zergo P, man.
Zergo P, Blizzard! Okay, it's going to map 3. We might have... Oh, no, we're going to start right now, actually. I thought we were going to have a quick delay there. Okay, as we go into this map, let's see if Stats goes for another passive approach or if he's going to try to be the guy who's going to initiate here and take a fight. Now, again, Rogue has shown he doesn't have to go to late game. He's got plenty of timing attacks of his own right as the Protoss is getting that sweet spot on 3 bases. Our game is loaded up. Let's go.
Start. Jin Air Green Wings. Rogue.
Some really, really strong play that game. All joking and balanced jokes aside, that was good execution by Rogue.
Splice. Stats.
You know, I think Stats defended reasonably well. It's very hard to play against. Rogue countered his strategy really well with what he was doing. Yeah, you know what's really scary about the Rogue, the way that Rogue has been playing ZVP lately, is the thing that Protosses, I think, are most scared of right now is the real late game against things like Infestor Broodlord.
Yeah.
But what Rogue has shown is not only is he really one of the best in the world, probably top 2 in the world at that, probably along with Cyril at that end game, but his mid game has improved like 800%. A lot of his games against Trap kind of look like this as well, where he's like, oh, Niduses are everywhere. I'm totally fine at home. I'm picking you apart. Came from far just for GSL. Thank you for coming. But yeah, that's kind of the scary thing about Rogue right now, is that he's improved these pieces of the game. Oh, God. It's going to be
it's going to be another cannon. All right, let's do it.
But yeah,
all right, for Stats, Haas is a spirit animal. Let's go. And nope, not today, my friend.
Very well timed out there. And yeah, this is a different one from the last Cannon Rush. So
yes.
We'll see. There's a possibility that Rogue plays differently because of that.
Now this in the StarCraft theory is a cheese strat that has been much more unpacked for the Zerg players. But let's see if Stats has a unique approach to it.
It looks like exactly the same counter by Rogue.
Right. To completely ignore it, play his own game, tech into Ravagers.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Let's see. He's going to put his Robo right there, I guess. Oh, he puts a Nexus down.
Oh, so
okay.
This is designed to look like it's going to be a much more of a commitment when he sets the cannons up. Now, keep in mind that Rogue was actually ignoring the rush, which means he didn't scramble to try to stop this. Now a Nexus is starting. This hatchery, I guess, will still just die. And then Stats is going to try to skip several steps ahead here in the tech and in the economy game. Does this, though, allow Rogue for some kind of a counterattack of his own? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that is a tough one because you see the Stargate coming up for Stats, and that's the old counter against this, right? If they make something like Roaches or Ravagers against your Cannon Rush, you make sure you have flying units because they don't shoot up. So, I mean, it seems like Stats is kind of busting out a slightly older style of Cannon Rush, but that's strong.
Okay, so first and foremost, he wants to eliminate these cannons here, so he can at least allow for growth on his side of the map. A drone is ready to start a hatchery over here. That cannon's unpowered. He immediately abandons any further damage here to try to rush the entrance of the second base here.
All right, so Void Ray is being chronoed out. A good choice.
A Void Ray can stop this the longer the rush goes on, but there's still plenty of damage that could be dealt. Actually, wait, no, how long? Can he get up there with the Ravagers and hit the pylon?
He's going to get in.
Yeah.
Okay, there's definitely...
But can he unpower that fast enough? I guess not. Never mind.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so, but let's see how much damage he can get done.
So he's going to try to tear down the forge. This will allow him to maybe try to rush on top of these cannons. He will take that out, and he then abandons this position.
Okay. It's interesting. He got the forge and only the forge. I feel like it might have been better to get the Cybernetics core.
Yeah, I would think the cybernetic score would be a much better building to take out the Forge.
I don't think you're worrying about +1.
Or more cannons, right?
Denying Warp Gate might be slightly stronger.
I would say a lot
Denying
stronger.
a Sentry or something like that.
Yeah.
Follow
Or I
up
mean,
with
just
the
force
Ling
them
Bang.
to remake the cybernetic score so they can at least start their tech again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of an interesting choice there. Not sure if that was optimal, but either way you look at this, I think, excuse me, I think that stats should be looked at as having a bit of an advantage, right?
Well, I think Stats' opener certainly worked out.
Yeah.
It's kind of oh, very nice. Takes out the third drone that was there to make the third hatchery. It wasn't the third drone. It was the third hatchery drone. I shouldn't have said it like that.
Damn. Out of the 12 drones that appeared, you know which one God made third. That's crazy. You're really full of yourself, Tasteless.
So he's slowed down the third base. He finally gets that set up. He probably would have been better to have an Oracle there to try to shoot that down as well. But yeah, basically Stats opened up in such a way where he noticed that Rogue, the way that Rogue reacts to cannon rushes is to almost ignore them and just tech as quickly as possible, which I guess Rogue is telling us is much better than freaking out and sending all of your workers there and trying to attack everything and trying to stop it, the rush before it really starts. But because of that, Stats said, well, wait a minute, I can almost feign a rush, still get your hatchery, and then back at home actually get a Nexus and tech really rapidly, and maybe he can outpace him that way. And again, we were talking about how Stats probably wants to stop the game before the late game can start. Well, this should set him up to be in a pretty good position to do that because he's already outpacing Rogue here.
Sure, yeah. This is kind of funny. Like, he's been working on this hatch some. I'm surprised the Oracles haven't done anything. Is he going to dive on the Queens? I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, this can absolutely take these Queens down here. The damage output's so high.
Yeah.
Good pull away. No, not good pull away, excuse me. He does end up getting, it looks like it's going to be all 4 of these Queens.
Yeah.
Kiting a little bit off. He sends one Adept in here to ensure that nothing else is going to come over here to help. Can he actually take this out, though? I don't know.
No, I
don't think so,
I
right?
can't imagine, but why doesn't he turn on the Void Ray and try? You got to give it a try.
Do it for the fans.
Thing is, he probably...
I guess the Oracle energy was low enough and it would just be a Void Ray, and with the other 2 hatches, 2 Queens come out no matter what, right?
Yeah. Listen, you don't need to be a party pooper like Stats. Let's say he's bad instead.
I want this match to be as WWE as possible.
It's like, oh my God, Rogue has traps earned. It's crazy. I'm an old school fan of that stuff, Tasteless.
I know, man.
So,
You were into wrestling as a
kid.
Are you still into it at all? Do you still watch it all?
No, I don't.
You don't keep up?
No, but it was...
I think it's bigger now than it's ever been before.
I think everything's bigger now than it's ever been before.
I guess that's true. Now everybody has found their niche,
Yeah,
you know?
very true.
I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so much fun.
I know.
Oh, I feel bad for you.
Now, the War Prism's coming, and we have a lot more gates coming down here. I have to imagine, as the third base really kicks in and the economy is really boosted for Stats, we're going to see some type of setup. Keep in mind that the Zerg is basically required, unless the Zerg does some kind of crazy timing. The Zerg is pretty much, just in the way the game operates, the Zerg is required to get a 4th base before the Protoss does, and that's usually around the time that the Protoss wants to attack.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if Stats does not get an attack going relatively soon here. Look how many pylons he's building and everything. I think he's really getting ready to explode.
Yeah.
Especially this +1 in charge going to be finishing up. His economy is fantastic. Look at this. He's kind of holding the center. I love this force holding the center. Look at this.
Yeah, this is great.
It's amazing.
These bridges you just bad
can't.
enough to not wiggle through.
Yeah, if someone's sitting on the other side of the bridges, nothing may pass.
Yeah.
Okay, everything is the Balrog at those bridges.
Now, the advance forward here, what do you think about the place that the 4th has been taken at here?
Oh, the 4th for Rogue? Yeah, I think it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that there's, like, a better place. Like, the one behind that, I don't know. Most people, I feel like, do take this one. Kind of more forward position, but you're right at a ramp.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the ramp can be pretty handy here. And so we see Stats finally trying to bring this game to where he wants to go. Now, it's not a full commitment because there is a 4th base for Protoss being taken as well.
Stats right now is going into his own 4th base. Wow, once again into the Stormhost play.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. He doesn't have a Nidus yet, though, right?
I don't see one.
Yeah, I mean, you don't 100% have to have a Nidus, but I feel like you
there
should.
It is.
Yeah. You know, we've seen people try just pushing strategies with it and utilizing, you know, Locust with Roach to push the enemy back, then running with the Roach as the Locusts get
what am I
taken
seeing?
out. Seeing Zealots kill
Right.
clean. Nothing new, Tasteless. Kind of a weird spot for it
Yeah,
in a weird
I didn't
time
know where
in
they
the
were
game.
moving out there. Oh, look at. Oh, I thought he was going to try to target down the Nidus. I thought
This is kind of a big deal that he sees exactly what the plan is. I feel like this can prepare him to do a bit more. Stats working on his economy a little bit, getting Blink. And
it also, by the way, it seems like if you keep seeing Roaches and Ravagers, you're almost guaranteed to have Nidus play. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
you're leading up to this moment where you're about to be maxed out.
Rogue is certainly liking it, but a lot of Roach Ravager has been going into Muta lately against Protoss, so maybe this is kind of a meta play from Rogue in some ways.
Ooh, those storms are so good!
My God, those storms! What? Oh!
Yeah, that like did the absolute maximum amount of damage.
Massacring.
And it looks like with that, he's going to be able to bash his way through here.
Rogue, get out of here! My God, that was just a slaughter. And now Stats is sitting here on a pretty nice economy. His +2 is going to be finishing up.
By the way, that was supposed to be a much closer fight, but when the storms go that well, I mean, wow. The counterattack should be driven away.
Yeah, he's definitely going to avoid those. He doesn't have Blink yet. Look at that. Going all the way back. Look at that little flank. He's like, I'll flank him at that little bridge. No.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, that
It's the ending of a bad
it looked
movie
like they
right
actually
there.
died like as they crashed into the ground.
Yeah.
They suddenly forgot how to
Like,
fly.
yeah, of
and
course you
splatted.
can't crash into the ground and be okay.
Yeah, no one can hit the ground that fast.
Yeah. Well, right now Rogue is doing a good job of trying to buy time. I feel like Stats needs to keep pressure on here, though. Oh.
Ow, 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 ow.
I really feel like Stats should have pushed a moment ago. The Locust ran out. A Nidus was over there, and then he went to kill the Nidus. But the thing is, if the Swarmos pop out that Nidus, the army or the defense at home for Rogue isn't enough to keep his fourth alive against that army that Stats had. So I feel like we just saw a slight blunder from Stats where he had potential to maybe kill the fourth. Huh.
Yeah, well, normally as the Locusts die, that's the moment where the Protoss army should be the strongest if the Protoss army is fighting the Zerg army, right? I mean, you basically want to try to weather these attacks. By the way, this is just so important. Oh, why did he move those Locusts? Something happened there.
That looked weird, didn't it?
He looked like he accidentally right-clicked them. Now, I think he'll probably get that almost 100% guaranteed later on, since Protoss can't heal their hit points in any way. I mean, once you get the Locust initially on that, the shields are going to disappear very quickly, and then that's going to go down. But still, having that fourth base for a little bit longer is going to put Stats in a good spot economically.
Now, a couple carriers are on the way. Carriers against this type of composition can do completely fine.
Right.
But if it goes above this, you know, if we do get into that more end game with infestors and whatnot, those are maybe not going to do as well. But we don't see that yet from Rogue. He is on Hive Tech, but we don't see it yet.
We do see a Spire coming as well, so I think it's fair to say that this is going to just come.
Do you see that he just sent just 2 Locusts to tank shots and did that Nidus? It like gave him vision for the Nidus and tanked so that the Nidus could have a chance of finishing.
Cool. Yeah.
That was cool.
That's one of those little subtle math things where it's very impressive to see. Ah! Almost being hit by his own biles there. Now,
Dude, Stats is fighting so well.
Yeah, these storms are just so good, by the way.
Yeah. Always, everywhere. They're so good.
It really shows you there's
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. He just pushed the Archon in front of the Biles, then walked back with his army.
It was so good
there.
there.
Stats, you're so sexy. Oh, my God.
Now, Stats is going to try to barrel forward even further here. He's actually going to try to chase away the rest of this army here of Ravagers. He's taking a 5th as well. I mean, he's matching the Zerg on bases.
Stats.
And by the way, after the, I guess Zerg will maybe be able to take the upper right, but it's going to be hard for Zerg to expand after that, you know?
Huh. This game is getting a little bit crazy. Like, I feel like Stats has done so many good things so many times, but we are getting into more endgame compositions. More Stargates are coming up. the Greater Spire is coming up. I guess we'll see if Stats can continue to battle like this. I wish he could get across the map and maybe try to do a little bit more damage with his base army, though, before we do this full transition. Because I see Pathogen Glands on the way, which is going to make it a bit harder on him. But let's not forget as well, this game started with a cannon rush that killed a hatchery.
Yeah, that's very true. and here we are getting into carrier tech as the Greater Spire is about to finish.
So the Corruptors clear the way for that Nidus. Stats running around, the little force, very cool. Just Stalker, Zealot, very mobile, trying to do a little bit of counterattack.
You know what's funny is you would imagine that in a longer game, Nidus has become stronger, and it's been the opposite in this game. The further we've gotten into this game, we're just now passing 15 minutes, the weaker the Niduses have actually become.
Yeah, I guess Protoss stabilizes over time against them. They start eliminating them more quickly, punishing more. Yeah, that is...
Okay, here comes that push now. Now remember, the Zerg sat on this tech for a very long time where Stats, very, I think, intelligently shifted into different types of techs that were, I think, going to be a little bit better here for the late game. So now it's going to come down to the fact of, now that it's finally Stats' turn to be on the offense, can Rogue actually handle this death ball of an army?
Yeah, it's pretty scary. A lot of the Interceptors gone. Hopefully those rebuild.
Cannot.
That's
GG.
it. Yeah.
Stats is up 2-1. What will the third cannon rush look like, Artosis?
Well, I think he's not going to cannon rush this next game, and Rogue's going to win. And then game 5, guess what? Taste cannon rush. Yeah.
It's been a story as old as time, Artosis. The tale of 2 different cannon rushes.
Very different cannon rushes.
But is the third one? Is there something he can do in game 3?
He could do the immortal one.
That's right. Then we will have seen everything.
Yeah. Can't think of another one, though. What other cannon rushes are
Players
there?
trapped in platinum for all time will be fist pumping at this one moment. Yes. That's how I play. Stats also sees the game as I do.
Yeah. Trust me, that's not true.
All right. World of Sleepers. I don't think this is going to be a sleeper of a match, Artosis.
I don't think so.
Because the players are so good, that's why I had to grab. Okay, our game is loaded up. Rogue versus Stats. Is Rogue going to be eliminated? He's the former GSL Codes champion. Right now, Stats with a 2-1 lead.
Game start. Jin Air Green Wings. Rogue. Splice. Stats.
You know, I wonder. I kind of wonder about... I think that Stats played just well enough that Rogue couldn't do it. But I also felt like he missed a couple opportunities for some damage. It's just maybe he felt like he was in such a position that his standard, regular late game was enough to kill him no matter what. And it turned out to be, right? But
yeah.
Rogue almost got into everything he needed. Not quite, though, right? So I just wonder about that, because is that being really, really smart? And did he look at that and say, I don't need to take the risks this time? Is it being indecisive? Is it being scared? What is it? Not sure.
It's cool to see Stats' take on a cannon rush like that in that game, where he could still set himself up to win in the way that he always does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if he gets that bit of advantage, you know, it's like, can you just go into a regular macro game from there and win?
Yeah. And it's also it's exploiting the way that Rogue understands how to handle cannon rushes. He goes like, no, that's not what you do. In his mind, he's almost saying, these kind of rushes suck so bad that the moment I see them started, I know I'm going to win the game, because I just go back and make Ravagers and hold it off. I don't panic and send drones down. I don't, and instead, Stats has said, actually, I'm just going to get your hatchery because I know you're going to ignore this, at least in the last game. I know you're going to ignore this. So I get the hatchery. My Nexus finishes before your second base does, which is, kind of funny looking in a matchup like this. And then he just steers the game ahead. It was also cool to see that Rogue again went for that kind of mid-game brawling style, kind of like a teleporting Battle Zerg style with the Nidus networks.
Yeah.
And then Stats still fended it off teched into carriers and then won with a push. Because you know what? Zerg wasn't teching up anymore quickly. Zerg was sitting on Swarm Host tech for a long time.
Yeah, that is true, and he wasn't gaining as much value as we saw in the previous game through that. It's interesting that that was his fallback. I don't have any like criticism for it. Just kind of interesting to watch the developing style of Rogue come out. Okay,
Dark Shrine.
Yeah, it looks like probably a DT-based Archon drop. Probably DT's hitting first. We'll see what that's able to do here. Obviously, this Overlord is coming in for a very nice scout. Or not.
Nice save there, Artosis.
Or
is he?
Sees the
There you
robo. May as well go.
Yeah. Or maybe he won't, but probably he will.
Gotta be careful. Gotta get everything right.
Yeah. Where those people on the internet are gonna get us, Artosis.
Well, you know, there's enough people in the chat right now that at least 5 of them is going to get every single thing right about tonight.
That's right.
They knew.
They knew. They're sitting there smugly drinking their Capri Suns, thinking about how much smarter they are. Now, we have Roach Tech again here coming up, but I think we're going to have to first and foremost see, can the Zerg deal with the DT/Archon harass?
That's really funny. He just sends the Prism directly out and
like, I
doesn't
don't
get the Overlord because of that.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to get his DTs in there most ASAPly.
Deets.
His deets.
His deets.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes we'll see the DT players try to send all the DTs to one spot where there's maybe not vision and they can kill drones, and then obviously the hatchery wants to go down. Or they want the hatchery to go down, I should say. In this case, he's going to have them hit in 3 different locations, and he's basically betting on one of these DTs having a whole lot of his success and killing a lot of workers. Is it going to be this one down at the 3rd?
Hey!
Holla!
All right. Oh!
Oh!
Pretty good deets so far.
Oh. Okay, well, excuse me.
Look, he's going to get this queen as well. Hey, not bad. No, never mind.
Taste my sight.
Taste my sight.
Uh-oh. Now, this is not a scythe DT. It's a, what is it, a sword he's got?
Taste my sword.
Taste my blade.
Like,
Wait a minute.
Oh, it tastes like blood. It's like, that's my blood. No!
Now, the DT, is it a sword? It comes out of his fist, like a Wolverine claw.
Side blade, I guess, yeah. Well, that's...
Oh, that's right. Are they called scythe? Yeah, I guess they're called
I mean,
scythe
they
blades.
are Protoss.
They're using psi. Psi must be short for psionic.
But how do they get the scythe then? How's that work?
I don't know.
Can you just make
They
your
didn't
side
have a
blade come
scythe
out of
in
anywhere?
StarCraft 1. This is like some Darth Maul stuff where they're like, let's get the DT even better.
What if he had 2 lightsabers
Yeah.
and they were connected?
It's a staff!
I need a forearm
Which
Zella.
Star Wars movie was it like pretty bad where they had the lightsaber that also came out on the sides like a sword? Like just,
Oh
my
my
God, that was so bad. I remember I saw that trailer in the theater and everybody's like, ooh, like all excited. I'm like,
What,
no,
the
that
little
looks,
things coming out the side?
Yeah. That was not cool.
The only thing I could think when I saw that was, I'm like, how is that useful? It's like, is that what you use to execute a cattle? Like, you just put it into their head? You know what I mean?
That No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, it's like that gun, but it's on your sword.
Star Wars has been getting so bad, and then the next one, they're going to have a guy, and when he turns his lightsaber on, it's just a lightsaber axe.
No,
It's
that
just
would be
stupid,
great.
weird shape.
No, I need lightsaber nunchucks, okay? So when they do their Bruce Lee move, they accidentally cut
Yeah.
off their own arm at the shoulder. Like, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
That's funny.
All right, Muta's coming out, by the way. Now, this is a little bit more common right now with some of these Roach openers, especially when they're playing against things like Archon Drop. But there is a Stargate out. Phoenixes are being made. We'll see what these Mutas can end up doing. But we've seen some really great tempo-based plays following up these Mutas. You kind of force them into some of this anti-air, and then suddenly there's this really overwhelming ground army a lot of the time. Bailey Nest on the way, +1 melee.
Yeah.
Air attack.
Rogue definitely trying to make an adjustment on how he wants to play in mid-game and late game here against Stats. Because Stats so far has basically succeeded in both both his openings, for the most part, as well as just the overall engagements. You know, he seems to have a very good handle on how Rogue plays. By the way, I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened, but I have to point this out, guys. If Stats wins, the GSL Codes champion just died at the start of the Super Tournament.
Yeah, yeah. Something that Special was actually saying today was that Rogue has actually just mostly been helping Maru practice for his match against Dark. Because right now, Maru, if his points don't change, like if he doesn't win this next round, he will be in the group of death for BlizzCon, which involves both Stats and Serral.
Yeah.
So that's like too much. So, yeah, that could be part of it. Like this is looking very similar to his match against Trap, which is obviously what Stats would use to prepare. So just a little something to throw out there. Now look at this: 13 Ravagers, 20 Lings. This is the type of tempo-based play that we've been seeing a lot with these mutas, where you kind of max out on this very low mid-tier army as Zerg, and Protoss can have a bit of a hard time. Like, look at the differences in army supplies right now, almost twice as much.
And we're going to see a lot of Banelings made here.
Wouldn't be surprised. He didn't get Baneling speed, though, right?
23.
23? My God!
That's Artosis.
That's a lot!
Every time Artosis plays roulette, that's the number all his chips go on.
Yeah. Like, that's Michael Jordan's jersey. This guy's a champion. You kidding me?
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so the idea is that you do so much damage so quickly.
22?
That's one number away from 23.
You put those together, 45. Whoa! Whoa!
Uh-oh. Is he going to be able to just
Michael
hit
Jordan's second jersey.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
I think he actually made that a little bit too close. And I think...
you know, if he had Baneling speed, I'd be feeling really good about him. But
well, this is where I'm kind of scratching my head on this. Is I feel like... Well, I guess
that's
he's going
hella
to get
many
it soon.
slow Banelings.
Yeah.
Basically, is what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Look at them
This is
wiggle.
where Banelings still have to rely on their feet before they enter Sonic the Hedgehog form.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny if you could get Banelings to charge up like Sonic the Hedgehog, or he just spins around in a ball?
Speaking of which, I'm really excited about that movie.
Oh yeah, dude. Are you going to go see that? The Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Where they're going to truly capture what Sonic the Hedgehog was all about.
They really are, and I'm really glad that they got, what's his name? Carrey?
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey for that. Because he was just so great in The Mask and Ace Ventura.
I think he's a good pick for Dr. Robotic, to be honest.
Yeah, is that right? Thanks, Stasis.
I'm more concerned about that Sonic character they made and how that didn't...
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
nothing wrong with that
crowning
at all.
achievement.
Yeah. Is Michael Bay making that one too?
He might as well be. So
there they go. Okay, now we can
right,
do something.
roll.
I think Rogue literally forgot it because he made.
Oh, he had to have. There's
45
there's
Banes, and he's
way.
like, oh,
he doesn't know until they finish and they start walking. And he's going, oh my God, I'm going to lose in the round of 16.
Can't go through there, or can you?
No, you can't. I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
More Banelings.
Okay, he's up to 77.
Yes.
77 Banes.
That's enough to destroy the entire map, Artosis.
Might be. Or if you stacked everything on the map, you always want that on.
Yeah, there should be a giant hole, a black hole that sucks all the units into it.
You see Stats using storms on those Ravagers? That's what he wants.
Yeah.
Those
now, the only way that the Protoss can effectively hold this is to get perfect storms on the Banes before they connect. Here we go. He has to have perfect storms. Okay, so you can see that Zerg's trying to like feign a dive and then back up. Can we get some more Banelings in here?
Seriously. Well, he's making 20 more Lings, so hopefully that's what that's for. It is just such a silly amount of Banelings that he's made, and they've done so little so far. I like that Stats is sitting back, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah, no, that's
smart.
good. I love seeing just 5 Banelings running into an Archon.
Well, I mean...
You know how many Banelings it takes to kill an Archon?
Too many, Artosis.
17!
Too many, Artosis.
Craziness. Yes. So why not just damage a little bit with 5 when it's sitting near a shield battery?
Well, at least half of its shields are gone, right? I mean, the glass is always half full, right?
Nowhere near half, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then it heals before the next battle.
But the glass is a 10th full. That's that kind of cast.
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, water was used to wash the glass. You can't really drink that water, but
you're still doing the glass. Okay. This is the point where Protoss can actually come out and start poking. Again, Protoss needs to be very wise when these storms are thrown down. That's why we see more Templars coming in here.
Ooh.
Oh, that was good. That was really good.
Until
I'm not clear on how much damage was done underneath the mothership core. We didn't have the units selected.
We have Broodlords being made, by the way.
Lords of the Brood.
Oh, that was Phoenix. Oh my god, it was so dead. It just stood there, Faces.
Yeah. It just stationary flew there. Oh my god. Okay, wait. I don't even know who wins that. Okay. It's
Well,
just
cost
Ravagers
efficiency-wise, certainly stats.
Yes.
Game-wise, we'll see in a minute here.
now. Okay, so now you can come out. Now keep in mind, Brutes are finishing, but there's actually enough splash with these Archons.
And there's a good amount of Tempest here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
This is a reasonable pushing force. There's not really Infestors out everywhere.
I think if Rogue loses one base, he's very likely to lose this game. He will be a...
Don't worry, he's making more Banelings.
That's good.
Look at how many Archons are being made. He's making 18 Banelings, so he's got enough to kill one of those, like, 9 Archons now. More drones being made as well. Wow, is he really not that worried? He's actually making drones right now? It's up to 94 drones.
Okay, here we go. Ooh.
Okay,
All right,
so what did
the
those Banelings do?
Banelings are out of the picture. I'm not sure they're doing enough.
I feel like
For
what
sure, because the Archon number is continuing to grow. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like he's trying to do that thing we've seen Zergs do against Terran sometimes when there's a bunch of ghosts and they don't know how to deal with them because they have Cloak, and they're like, what about 100 Banelings? And they just roll it forward. They're like, I hope this kills
I
all your
hope this connects on the
spellcasters.
right stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this tug of war we're seeing here is going to go to stats over time.
It feels like it, but I mean, some of his vials are hitting.
Well,
he's getting a lot of damage on these Archons.
The Tempest can literally one-shot Broodlords, see? One more shot and there's no more Broodlords in this game.
Yeah, that's true.
GG Stats wins
3-1.
as the French would say. Quoi?
Okay. Well, that was interesting. I think that Rogue made a big mistake not having Baneling speed when he first morphed his Banes. He never really got any good value. The Bane connections were consistently not what I think you're looking for.
Well, GG. All right, Rogue, you GSL Codas champion. Get out of here, you scrub. He's the first player eliminated in the round of 16. That I did not expect.
Yeah. Well,
a win for Cannon Rushers everywhere.
Yeah, indeed.
The thing about cannons,
stats
guys,
actually win.
the thing about cannons is that they don't cost supply.
What?
They don't. Yeah, I know, right? They don't cost supply.
But they cost like at least 2 or 3 supply, right?
No, not even 1. If they were any better, they would give you supply. The cannons would be the pylons. Okay.
Well, imagine if you had to build a cannon to power
If the Protoss had figured that out, they would have been getting their ass kicked in the campaign for so long. We got Dark vs. Maru coming up next for match number 2 in the GSL Super Tournament. Do not go away, or else.
Spark my adrenaline.